All right, that's enough of that. I can't stand it.
You can't stand being silent? I'm shocked.
No. Hey, nice. Be nice.
That was me being nice.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, we were quiet because we were doing a Quiet Place this week.
Very new and different experience for us. We considered doing an ASMR podcast, but decided that would be way too hard and probably get real loud real fast.
Yeah.
Plus, we have a dog that's inevitably going to scratch at a door in, I don't know, what, T-minus 5 minutes? Oh.
4 seconds. That dog, I swear, does whatever she wants.
So basically, she would be the first one to get us all killed in this kind of apocalypse.
Oh, yeah. No, unquestionably, Dubs is to blame.
So anyways, I'm Shay.
I'm Tyler.
And this is Cinematically Correct, and we're doing A Quiet Place. And we picked this movie. Well, Tyler picked this movie. It was Tyler's choice movie. You want to say why you picked it?
Because Joe is wrong.
So Joe was our guest on the Brooklyn podcast, and he told us that he didn't like The Quiet Place. I don't exactly remember the words he used about this movie.
He said it was a terrible movie.
Okay. And we also talked to him about it. We had our engagement party this last weekend, and we told him the movie we were doing, and it's basically a feud now, so...
Yes, I have several of those going, it seems.
Yes, you do. So if anybody else has a feud with Tyler, let us know, because apparently you'll get called out on the podcast, because that's what we do. Who knew?
Yes, no, that is what we do. On
YouTubers are doing boxing matches, and we're doing hateful podcasts.
Yes.
So that's good. I'm glad that we're into the business of hate. Good. So anyway, we saw this movie when it was in theaters.
With your parents.
Was it with my parents?
Yes.
Well, so I just want to get it out there before we talk about the movie. Our theater experience of this movie was not stellar.
Oh, I wanted to murder those people. They were talking and it was awful.
So I'm a weird person, and I don't like movie theaters to begin with. I can't be seated near people, otherwise I have to move, I have to leave. And any type of, like, weirdness in a theater, loudness, throwing things, any of that kind of stuff freaks me out. Like, I get really anxious, and I get really whatever.
I just get really mad and I want to kill somebody.
I love that he doesn't let me tell my stories. But anyway, so my point was there was very loud kids in the back. And not just loud, but they were rude. They were, like, yelling at each other. They were throwing things in the back. They were just being ridiculous. And
we're not saying kids. We mean... Like teenagers, like 18, 19-year-old
And we're not saying people. 1, 2, 3, or 4. I want to say there had to be upwards of 10.
Half dozen to a dozen,
yeah. So there was a lot. And before the movie even started, I was starting to feel panicky because they were just getting overwhelming and just awful. Yeah. But then when you start the movie and you realize there's almost no sound, it's the worst feeling to, like, be in the moment of the movie and then all of a sudden you hear some kid, like, drop an F-bomb behind you as they're, like, joking with each other. It was just... Yeah, it pulled me out of the movie a lot. It added to my tension, but it pulled me out, so it was, like, hard for me. So seeing it back at home, I was, like, able to at least immerse myself a little bit more.
We needed those monsters that kill people for making noise.
Yeah, basically.
Movie. Yeah.
I heard that there was a advertisement for this movie, like, at some theaters, where the monsters were, like, the ushers, and they were, like, going through the, like, seats and, like, stealing people's phone and, like, you know, taking popcorn. And I'm like, can we just have, like, one of those monsters walk down and just steal the loud people?
All of the times?
Right?
Like, every movie I ever go to?
Right? It's just, it's... Anyway,
I'll pay for the service. Yeah, a couple bucks. Done. Sold. Easiest sale in the world.
So we'll just repurpose the monsters. Don't kill them. Just take them out of the theater.
Yes.
Yeah. I like it. Handshake. All right, we're in. But anyway, so I wanted to get that out there first because I feel like my impressions of the movie was a little bit different to start with just because that experience was my nightmare. So.
Yes, it was not my favorite movie experience, to be honest.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, movie is about monsters that kill you for making noise. And it follows a family as they live in upstate New York, I guess. And try to make as little sound as possible. They're fairly good at it. Yeah,
they repurposed their Monopoly to have, like, felt pieces. When she had the baby, or not when she had the baby, before she had the baby, they made, like, the...
Soundproof room?
No, I meant the thing that goes around the baby's crib. What's it called?
The mobile?
Yeah, the mobile, but it was, like, knit, and it was cute. Like, it was just very... They did a really good job of, like, showing how all of the things in your life make sound. Or, like, the floorboard... steamer, which if anyone knows how to make a floorboard steamer, like now I'm curious. Just want to know how that works. Like
yeah, or the paint on the floor in the spots that don't creak on the hardwood.
Right. Like they put a lot of thought
no
into
doors because you can't slam a door if it's not there.
Right. The convenience store where all the food was taken except for things in noisy bags like chips. Like they put a lot of thought into all of the stuff that makes noise.
I mean, to be perfectly fair, you could still get into chips very carefully by cutting off the top and then pouring them out in your hand.
Yeah, but it's dangerous. I mean, there's a parody out there called The Dwight Place, and it was the candy bar that really got him.
Oh, God.
So, anyway, but I thought that was, like, really good the way that the detail that they put in for that.
Yes. So they live about their life. A tragedy happens early in the movie where they lose a 4-year-old child to the monsters.
Such a heartbreaking start to the movie.
John Krasinski, you're a monster for that.
I mean, I feel like it definitely made you on edge right at the beginning because you're like, then anybody's game here. Like, nope, This isn't one of those movies where you're like, oh, well, the kid's not going to die because he's a kid. Anyone's game because they got rid of the youngest child at that point in the movie.
4 years old. That's a dark start, but set the tone for the movie.
I mean, now granted, that could have been avoided. They could have given the child
that irritated the hell.
The
spaceship
or whatever you want to call it, rocket. I was assuming they stuck with the rocket theme, but whatever. But they could have given him that and kept the batteries on themselves. Like, or just as an adult, you could have,
or just chucked the batteries as far as you can as soon as you get out of the store.
Right, but I mean, there were ways that they knew that a kid is going to want that, and that just, I don't know, that, to me, that broke my heart in a million ways, like...
And the sister, of course, blames herself.
Well, it seemed like each character explained a reason why they blamed themselves throughout the movie, because the mom felt like she should have been carrying him, because remember, she talks about that right after having the kid. The Krasinski feels like he should have caught up, he should have been able to run faster.
Yeah.
And then the other kid that was being carried blames himself for being sick, because if he wasn't sick, they would have never been at the store. Right. So, I think
and then
that's
the sister blames herself because she gave him the toy in the first place.
Right.
After her parents said no.
Which, to be honest, I think she's the most blameless of all people, because the kid would have gone back for the dang thing.
I mean, he wouldn't have gone back for it. He's 4. He's not going to walk the 6 miles to the store through monster-infested territory to get a toy.
No, but he would have found a way to get that toy before he left. He probably would have made noise trying to get it, too.
I just think that they could have given him the toy without the batteries.
Or cut it like she did later in the movie.
Right.
Like, if she could figure that out, and she doesn't have hearing, and she knew that if I cut this, then the sound stops.
You just cut the wire to the speaker.
I know, but she knew what wire to cut. And me, I'd cut the wrong wire. I'd cut the wrong wire, let's be honest.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah.
They go over that wonderful bridge. The 4-year-old dies. And then the movie, it's actually a fairly quick movie. It's only about an hour and a half.
That's because that's what happens when it's a good movie. And like some of the movies you make me watch, they're 3 hours long and not
We haven't watched a 3-hour movie yet.
I'm just being exaggerating about like your Lord of the Rings addiction.
Because Lord of the Rings is an amazing movie. This is also an amazing movie. The two are good in their own ways.
Nope, not getting into it.
The floorboard steamer, you just mentioned, that thing looked cool.
I just want to know how that works. Like, I want to understand.
Is it like hot rocks in the floor? How do you prevent your house from burning down, is my question.
Right, like I have a lot of questions. How do you prevent the boards from warping, too? Like, I just have questions. Like, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying I have questions and I would like them answered.
Yeah.
So if anyone knows, let me know. I'm curious on a lot. It looks like really good food, and I don't like fish, so...
See, I've never had fish with the head still attached. I always will eat fish just prepared in a fillet.
So I can't answer if I've ever done that, because I literally don't eat fish, like, at all. Like, I would literally...
Ever. Under any circumstances, you don't eat it.
I mean, fish. No, I eat
it's
shrimp
like me and the ham.
things.
It's like me and the hot dog all over again. Like, you just don't...
I've tried it. I cannot stand the fishy taste. I can't... Bleh. Makes... Like, I'm already feeling sick just thinking about it. So, having a fish with a head on it probably would be a definite no-go for me.
Yeah. I liked how they did one of the movie tropes where they're all scared of the sound and it turns out to be harmless. With the raccoons, the trash pandas.
Oh.
Like, because you always have that scene in the movie where it's an overreaction on their part, but it's built up
You want to know what I thought was going to be that part of the movie?
What?
The nail. When she pulled up the laundry bag and that happened, I was like, oh, that's going to just be there to, like, make us, every time somebody goes down the stairs, like, us catch our breath, but nothing's ever going to happen.
And
then like, I can just imagine the agony that honestly, there's no way I wouldn't scream. Zero way I wouldn't scream. Like, I don't even know how she
made noise. She dropped the picture frame, but, I mean, when you consider that it's a nail in your foot...
I would scream. Yeah. I would probably also cry a lot.
I don't know. That raccoon got messed up.
Yeah, that was so gross. I mean, though, how did it live as long as it did? We were on day, like, 400 and something.
Well, they're small. They live in trees. And they don't make a whole lot of noise, normally. Also, the woods is a big place.
I guess. It just seemed a little odd, but...
Then the iPod scene was awesome.
You really liked that scene.
I did like that scene.
You're such a romantic. It's adorable. Anyway, so go ahead. What was the iPod scene?
So the whole movie is very quiet for the entire movie, and then she comes downstairs to be with her husband, and she's listening to music on headphones, and she puts a headphone in his ear so they can dance together. Mm-hmm. And then it's just so overwhelmingly loud just because they're not aware of it. They cut in the music from what she's listening to.
Yeah. And it fades up, which I liked. Right. Like when she puts it in his ear, it like transitions upwards.
Right.
And it's a cool effect that they did.
Yes, I did
like
that.
Very sweet moment.
It was.
I mean, they definitely had great chemistry considering that they're actually married in real life.
Actually married. And I heard that they had their actual family photos on set.
Oh, that's cool.
On like the walls and stuff.
That's really cool. I like them as a couple. I think they're adorable.
I like the father arguing with his daughter over the hearing aid, or the cochlear implant. Mm-hmm. Where she's like, just give up, and he's like, I'm not giving up until it works, which is just adorable.
Such a fatherly instinct in there. Maybe you got some going on.
I don't have kids yet. No.
You don't have a fatherly instinct?
I
don't know what that says about you as a person.
Great. So I have a question.
I don't like the sound of this.
Well, so she's pregnant for this movie.
Yes.
The majority of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
How did they have sex? Did they make zero noise?
So I read a theory on this, and I was hoping that you were going to bring this up because I figured you would. So you know how in the part of the movie where John Krasinski brings his son to the waterfall, and he says that they can scream and whatever there. People were like, oh, love the fact that they inserted how the baby was conceived and where it was possible. So...
Well, I mean, I think it's theoretically possible to have sex without making noise, right?
I mean, I wouldn't know.
I mean...
I'm a loud person in general.
Yes, that's true.
So...
Which people don't see, by the way. Like, that's not something that everyone...
I'm a low-key loud person. What do you want?
Well, it's just it catches people off guard.
Because I sing a lot.
Yes, you do.
So I don't think I would last in any kind of quiet situation.
No.
I also get very anxious if it's too quiet for too long.
Yeah.
So...
We're going to have to live in a waterfall.
That'd be great. It was so pretty there. I mean, the whole logistics of the fact that no sound got out at all just because the waterfall was loud seemed a little odd to me, but...
Well, it's not that no sound got out. It's just it's drowned out by the waterfall.
Yeah.
Waterfalls are loud.
Well, yeah, but there are spaces around the waterfall, and the sound will travel.
It will travel, but at the same time, if it's caught up in all the other white noise...
You would hope that it would be drowned out enough, but I don't know. But, so anyway, they said that they think that's where that happened. Oh. So... Well,
then at the end of the movie, when she's behind the waterfall in her house, the thing still finds her. So explain that. Plot hole?
Well, no, the thing walks away.
No, it walks up to like the water and is like about to put his head in and like he's doing that.
Because he hears the water. That's what I thought anyway. Otherwise he would have gone at it aggressively, but he didn't. He was trying to hear and he heard the water.
I don't know. I was like, she's behind the water and it's making that noise, and like all of the noises cause problems, and then
I don't know, dear. I didn't think of it that way. But anyway, but I mean, your bigger problem was why did they decide to have a child?
Yes, that was foolish.
Mm-hmm.
There are prophylactics and preventative measures, and...
But I mean, if you looked at the convenience store that they were at, it was pretty picked through. So one, there could have been a lot less availability for prophylactics since we're using a really weird term for
birth control.
Well... But birth control, I don't feel like she could have gotten at this point because it's a year past time. It's not like you get prescriptions of birth control that can last you a lifetime.
Birth control can also be male birth control, darling.
Well, I'm trying not to use them interchangeably. So prophylactics I'm using for the word you seem to not want to use, and then birth control for birth control. So anyway, I don't think she had that, but prophylactics can break.
Okay. But...
And they also can run out. They can also expire.
In the end of the world, people aren't stocking up on those. They're stocking up on food and water. So those would be still around in the pharmacy, I would imagine.
Do you think people stop having... I mean, that's like...
No, I'm not saying people stop. I'm just saying that...
It's like
that's not the first
natural survival method. You want your lineage to carry on when you're in danger.
Yes, but people don't focus on that if it's all about survival.
I don't think that's true. If you're thinking about survival and you think you're gonna die and the only way that you can carry on is to have a child, I feel like that's like something that is ingrained in you to do, even if you're not consciously thinking of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like even in the zombie movies, think about all the zombie movies. Like what was it, Dawn of the Dead, where the mom had a baby in the mall and it was a zombie baby and whatever. Like. A lot of these movies, apocalyptic type movies, people have children.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair. But in those instances, it's usually someone that got pregnant before the apocalypse, not during the apocalypse.
Maybe.
Well,
I think you're very judgy. You don't know until you walk a mile in her shoes, and you don't want to because she had a nail in her foot.
Oh, no, hell no. I'm not walking any steps in those shoes.
She was stronger than you.
Yes. I did like the dad talking to his son as they're about to go to the waterfall. And he's like, there's nothing to be afraid of. And the kid's like, really, Dad? Really? Yes, there is. The giant monsters that killed my little brother. And attack anything that makes noise. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he was a pretty good little kid. Apparently he's actually British.
Really?
Yeah. Which you wouldn't know because he barely talks.
No one speaks in this movie.
There's
some. There's occasional speaking, but it's not a speaking movie.
Anyway, so I feel bad that we're all over the place because I let Tyler take control of this because it's his movie. So that's my mistake. But anyway, I wanted to...
Take back over.
Yeah,
please.
I'm working on it. But, so we didn't go over a brief synopsis, but basically where we're at now, so we said that the little kid had gotten taken, and so they go forward with showing how they live, what they're doing. We talked about the fish thing. We talked about the Monopoly. And you see that John Krasinski is currently making like cochlear devices for his daughter. And you also see that he's kind of like kept like all these newspaper clippings of like what this could be, like what the monsters could be.
Right.
There's some...
How many are in the area confirmed? And...
Right. And there's some insinuation that there might be aliens coming from a meteor, like based on some of the clippings and all of that. And the daughter is getting increasingly upset because she feels she's being left out because she can't hear well, so he's not like including her.
He's trying to be protective because she's at a distinct disadvantage of not being able to hear the monsters because everyone else can hear the noises of them coming. And there are a couple scenes in this movie they do very well where they cut the sound because she's deaf, and you're like, oh God, oh God, oh God. Right.
Now, so a big part of the movie is Krasinski and the son go off to the waterfall, which we were talking about, but what we didn't mention is that at the same time, she decides that since Krasinski won't take her, because she asks him, he says, no, you need to stay with your mom, and she was really upset about it, so she decides to go off on her own, and she ends up going to bring the rocket to the grave of the child who's passed, and then she kind of just lays there, it seems like.
Well, she's
sad and she wants to just and I get that. Like I can understand where both sides are coming from because it's got to be really frustrating not being able to control something that is a huge disadvantage for you and making people kind of leave you out. Like I feel like I can get that. And the mother is very pregnant and she's just doing laundry and she's really not kind of paying attention to the fact that her daughter left. And I don't know how I feel about that. Like
It's the end of the world. Pay attention to your children.
Well, I mean, for me, it was kind of like how you saw your daughter and your husband fight. You saw that happen. You were standing there. So how did you not go check on her? Like that bothered me. Like I feel like even just as a sister, I would have immediately gone right over to my sister and been like, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" So as a mother,
you can't make noise. You'd be like, "Is everything okay?"
Well, they can do it in signing.
Right.
But as a mother, there's no way in hell I wouldn't have checked. Like that bothered me, but fine. But then the labor happens and the whole big part of the movie.
She has a baby without making sound, which I'm not convinced is possible.
And not a good labor. She ends up bleeding quite a bit, and that obviously indicates that there was something wrong, seriously wrong. You don't bleed like that when you're having a baby.
Never had a baby, darling. I have no idea.
Okay, well, as a woman, I can tell you that you're not supposed to bleed like that. If you see that kind of blood, there's a problem. Now, I don't know what was wrong with the baby. The baby was awfully quiet when it was born as well, which is usually an indication that something is wrong.
Right.
So there was definitely something wrong. Plus, she passed out. So all of the things indicate something was wrong, and yet she was still quiet. How? I don't know, because I would have been...
Well, it was just very tense, because anytime you see her start to, like, essentially pantomime a contraction, you're like, oh God, she's going to slip up. Oh God, she's going to make a noise. The monster's right there. Which was very well done.
Right, it was.
There was a lot of those scenes in the movie where you're like, oh God, just no.
And I really loved that they called the fireworks rockets. Yeah. Obviously as a callback to their past son.
Right.
Because they're fireworks. And he obviously was very obsessed with space and all of that kind of stuff. So they were obviously doing that to make a connection there. And that like tugged at my heartstrings a little bit. And I'm not really a sappy person when it comes to movies, but that did it for me. Now, the thing that bothered me, though, is the amount of time it took for John Krasinski to decide it was time to find his children. He sent off his son to do the rockets, which, fine. I mean, I think he should have gone himself.
And then waits till the mom comes back to consciousness?
Yeah, it seemed a little odd. Like, it's not even that he didn't leave the house. He didn't even go to look at the screens to see where his kids were. He did nothing of the sort to look for his children until the wife finally said... Hey, you're going to go protect my kids, right? I'm like, I'm sorry. It took you that long?
Well, I think it's part of it is it was not intended to be that long of a drawn-out process where she was passed out. But, yeah, that was kind of odd because...
But you wouldn't... Okay, if I pass out and we have children, I feel like at the very least... you would start being like, okay, I do need to find these kids. Well, because she's going to wake up and the kids aren't here. Like, it's a problem.
There are competing theories on that. I mean, so if you've passed out, there's something medically wrong.
True.
So I have to be there to try to help you.
Are you a doctor?
In this scenario, I'm the only doctor you got.
But at the same time, if I wake up and you've saved me, but you've killed both my children, do you think that's going to go over well?
No, it will not go over. But the kids are in different immediate danger in terms of they at least have some ability to control the noise that they make.
Well, not the deaf girl. She doesn't know if she's making noise because she can't hear it.
But at the same time, she's not making noise.
Right, but he has no idea where she is, like zero idea. He doesn't even know what happened to her. So she could be anywhere. Right. And the kid, he sent him off to do rockets, and then he's just
make noise and bring the monsters to the rockets.
Right. It just seemed like there should have been at least more of an immediate concern for your children. I get that you needed to take care of your wife, but your children?
And then she also is losing that leg from the nail and then that dirty water.
Oh yeah. That's how you get a blood infection. That's
how you get gangrene and die.
Yeah.
Or septicemia or...
I mean, granted, those drugs at the drugstore were readily available, so she'll probably have some antibiotics, but...
Oh, right. You were going to talk about that, and it's not out of the normal.
It just seems so weird to just have drugs just chilling like that.
Every drugstore ever has a counter and the drugs behind it. They're not locked up in a safe in the back room.
I feel like they have to be locked up.
It's not like the nuclear codes where it's a 2-man dead man switch. Like, it's... No.
I'm now going to go into, like, a CVS and, like, scope that out. Like, I need to know. Like, are you telling me that there's no locks for the drugs when people aren't manning it? That doesn't make sense.
Somebody's always at the counter or the building is closed.
Right, okay, but when the building is closed, does the drugs get locked behind something more than just the lock on the door of the store?
I don't know, but
I need to know.
When they're out during normal business hours, they're just sitting there.
Well, right, but when the apocalypse happened, it wasn't like, and all of a sudden, CVS was bombarded or whatever. I don't know what pharmacy, they just named it pharmacy, so whatever, but let's just use CVS. It wasn't like just, okay, everybody abort. They had time to lock the doors of the drugs.
But you're not going to lock the doors because you're taking the drugs.
Well, they didn't take all the drugs.
Because you can only carry so many drugs, and they're probably thinking, well, what if somebody needs the drugs?
I don't know. That bothered me on a level I can't even explain to you. Like, they should not just be willy-nilly out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people assumed, like, okay, this is like a lifelong apocalypse thing, so I'm going to have to leave it so people can fend for themselves. They're thinking an immediate now. Like
the army will fix it.
Well, I mean, they always think that. They didn't use that in this movie, which is good. I mean, they did send out SOSs and things, but with Morse code, I believe.
Through the radio, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how the U.S. government didn't have some way to combat the alien monster menace.
I mean, in every apocalypse movie ever, the U.S. government never succeeds. So that's my assumption.
But at the same time, they could have figured something out. Like, they could have started broadcasting at least some
radio frequencies or something?
Well, no, just the things that caused the monsters problems. I mean, if they were in the newspapers to don't make a sound, you're like, sound. Curious.
Well, I mean, okay, so I think part of it, though, is you think to yourself, okay, I can't make a sound because they're going to kill me, so your next thought isn't make a high-pitched sound. You don't want to make any sound. So, like, that could be... You don't want to get killed. You don't want to... It's not like trial and error where you can, like, see it and then, okay, well, that one didn't work. It's like, no, if that doesn't work, you die. So it might not be a trial and error they were willing to have.
I mean, you got to do something, otherwise you're going to lose anyway, so...
Well, right. But anyway, we're getting way far along, and I really want to talk about all of the ways that you can die that this movie made me aware of. So...
Oh, God, yes. All the ways that you can die. Although they did share a door.
They did. It wasn't Titanic. I was so proud. Like,
it wasn't in the water, so...
But apparently, grain is more of a death trap than water is. Who knew?
I think more people die of drowning than grain entrapment.
Well, but more people are around water than they are around grain. But grain doesn't just kill you from suffocation. You can die from the weight
Crushing.
On your diaphragm and things like that, and you just die. And you don't die immediately. It takes 5.5 minutes for you to become, like, actually brain dead. 5.5... Can you imagine 5.5 minutes of struggling?
Well, you're not going to be struggling at that point. Brain dead is not the same
well,
as...
Well, right. You're gonna pass out at some point. It probably takes you like a minute to pass out, I would assume, based on lack of oxygen and all of that. I'm guessing.
Probably a few minutes.
I'm guessing. Yes. But it's still not immediate. It's
right.
not a fun way to die.
Your body is designed to live for as long as possible and do everything that it can to make sure that you continue living.
I get it, but can you imagine?
Even if you're horribly injured.
Now I never want to go in one of those McDonald's ball pits. Like, it's killed for me. It's killed. It's ruined.
It's a ball pit. It's not the same.
But that was what I thought of when I first saw the grain thing, not knowing that you could die from grain.
A ball pit has its own separate issues of, like, horrifyingly dirty because children have lost...
Okay, germaphobe.
Oh, you're going to make fun of me for being a germaphobe when you shared that video on Facebook? Really?
I'm not making fun of you for being a germaphobe. I am commiserating with you. But regardless... I feel like I was looking at the grain stuff like, oh, fun, it looks like one of those, like, ball pits. And then when I read about how horrifyingly you can die from that, I'm like, nope, never going into a ball pit again.
But it's
decision
not the
made.
same.
It has the same association. So hypochondriacs don't like these things.
Hypochondriacs don't like many things.
Truth. So on hypochondriac note, since we're here, the actress was her name Millicent? Is that
Millicent
how you say it?
Simmons.
Okay. She is actually legally deaf, and it happened because she overdosed on medication as an infant. Now, I couldn't find what medication she overdosed on, but I was able to find what types of medication can make you deaf.
Oh,
deaf
good.
From overdosing.
This is great. This is going to be my life for the next however many days.
Well, you know that I don't take medication to begin with anyway. And now this has just solidified why I don't take it. Because it's not like drugs, like hardcore drugs. It's aspirin. It's NSAIDs, like ibuprofen and anti-inflammatories. And
yes,
things
you'd
like
have to take an
antibiotics.
You'd have to take a lot of them.
I understand that. But like, you know, I'm a little person, so my overdosing is different than your overdosing. And you just never know. I'm just saying. I didn't know it was possible to go deaf from it.
Yes, very possible.
Well, now I know. So now I know there's more reasons to not take medication. So
Great.
Thank you very much, A Quiet Place, for adding to my hypochondria in many, many ways.
Yeah. So, what else do you want to talk about in the movie? You want to talk about the drugs and the going deaf and all the horrible things that you found? Mm-hmm. You have the A Dwight Place.
Oh, the parody. So, yes there is a parody going around out there mixing The Office with A Quiet Place called A Dwight Place. And it's really funny. I think it's really funny. But yes, the main thing is eating a candy bar sets off a chain reaction.
Right.
But yeah, you should definitely check that out. But the only other thing I want to mention before we get into any like things that you want to do.
The random facts that Tyler does?
Yes. Tyler's Fact Minute.
Or that I do.
Yeah. I really love that you talk about yourself in third person.
I don't, really. All right.
Still can't do it.
No.
Still can't do it. Jenna Marbles, get at me. I need to know how to do this. Anyway, this movie was originally considered being part of the Cloverfield franchise.
Yeah, that would have been dumb.
So, but I can totally see why. So I'm glad it wasn't, for sure. But I can totally see why, because it's very much a apocalyptic type movie. You don't really know much about the monster. It's only seen in passing. Like, it's got a lot of the same feels.
Well, right, but one thing is it's not the real, like the video camera handheld style.
Yeah, but neither was the most recent Cloverfield movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
You didn't see the most recent Cloverfield movie.
I did not. I only saw the original and I did not like it.
Well, so the most recent one was actually really good to me, but they still never really get into the monster. And I like that this one at least showed the monster and you had, like, you knew its weakness and all of that kind of thing.
Right.
I feel like in Cloverfield, you really don't get that. You don't get much of anything.
Well, that's one of the things I don't, like, if there's no tangible thing to it, it doesn't, it's not real. It's not solidified.
Right.
Like, there has to be something. There are certain instances, like Jaws, where they don't show the shark for the majority of the movie because the shark that they had didn't work.
Right.
And so they had to build up to it, which was well done. But at the same time, at some point you do see the shark.
Well, but then there's movies like Babadook where you don't ever see anything really scary. It's more like all like what you've created in your head, which I do enjoy. But I like that they did focus very much on the build up in this movie, but they did also show.
Yes.
Anyways, I know you really want to get to your fast facts.
I do want to get to those facts. Although he shouldn't have died at the end. Spoilers.
No, he should not have died, and that makes me angry. I'm hoping that, I don't know, he found a way to live in his stomach or something. I don't know.
So Metacritic gave it an 82, so Joe's wrong. 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, 83% audience score.
So is this whole point to just make sure that you've solidified that Joe's wrong?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Interesting facts, John Krasinski actually dressed up in motion cap to play the monster a couple times. It was shot in only 36 days.
Oh, that's pretty impressive.
That's very quick. The opening scene was the final scene shot because they had to shave his beard, which you love his beard.
I do love his beard. Without his beard, I mean, I still love him, but I miss it.
Can you imagine? There was rumors that they were going to do this movie without any subtitles and just have people signing. Can you imagine how...
I forgot to mention. Go ahead.
Well, can you imagine how difficult it would be to understand what's going on in the movie if they don't give you subtitles?
Yeah, I would be
lost.
lost.
I don't speak American Sign Language.
Me neither.
That would be in a completely different movie.
Absolutely. I agree.
So what do you want to talk about? You just had an oh my god moment?
I didn't know that in movie theaters they had a closed captioning box for people that are hard of hearing that they put in the cup holders, so it like gives you the closed captioning without other people having to deal with it on the screen. And you put it in a cup holder and you can watch it while you're watching the movie.
I didn't know they had a separate thing. I just figured that there was some kind of way.
No, it exists. It's
Really?
a thing. It's a device.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If I don't mention this, my sister will kill me. So the bridge scene was filmed in New Paltz, New York. Mm-hmm. My sister went to SUNY New Paltz.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
I wonder if she went to the bridge.
I'm going to have to ask her.
I want to go to the bridge. I need to take
photos. So Casey,
there.
if you're listening to the podcast, did you go to the bridge from The Quiet Place?
And is it as amazing as it looks in the movie?
It looks very pretty, although hopefully with less child murder. Let's see, what else do I have? This is actually John Krasinski's third directorial film. Not his first. Because we were saying that...
Yes, I looked up the other ones. I've never heard of them. Have you?
I've never heard of them. We were talking in the movie theater when we were going to see this. Well done, John Krasinski, because this is your first shot, because we didn't know.
Right.
We had this whole conversation about it, because we're like, oh, this is his first directorial debut. This is great. This is awesome. Not the first.
No, the only one that looked interesting was the brief interviews with hideous men. That looked interesting to me, but never even heard of it before.
I've never heard of any of them. Like, he directed a couple of The Office episodes. I've heard of The Office.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. I want to ask the question, were the lights for her being in labor or the monsters?
I asked that question in the movie.
You asked the question in the movie, but then I was like, I think it's for the pregnancy because she didn't know the monsters were there. But at the same time, reading through the research on that, they said red means run.
Right, and that's actually in one of the songs that's scored in the movie.
Right. So is it red means run and that the monsters are there that she didn't even know were there because...
Well, she did know because when she stepped on the nail, she broke the glass. So she knew that the monsters were coming.
Well, yeah, but she was already headed downstairs before she broke the glass and made noise.
Right. I don't know. That's why I asked the question. I don't know.
I don't understand. She can't know the monsters are coming until she breaks the picture frame and makes noise.
Right. She didn't know she was going to break the picture frame, I would assume.
Well, right, because she wouldn't have walked downstairs and stepped on the nail.
Right.
So I need
I asked the question for a reason. I can't answer it.
All right. Anything else you want to do other than audience asks?
Nope. Just want to get into that, and then that's it.
And then the grade.
Yes, I know you love to rate the movies.
Yes.
Especially because you want to prove Joe wrong.
Yes.
Anyway, so the first question, we're only going to do two because we're run on time, but it's Pop-Up Filmcast. They said, what happened to all the socks? Do socks really make that much noise? Which I didn't even really think about that, because you would think that they would actually want socks on because it muffles noise.
Well, yes and no. So, wet socks are awful, right?
Ew.
Exactly. And so, from a practical standpoint, they're walking on sand for a lot of the movie, and socks are not great on sand.
Okay, I guess I can see that. I mean, I just feel like on like wood and stuff like that does muffle the sound.
I mean,
but yeah, I guess you don't want to be taking them on and off.
Right.
And having to do wash by hand, probably not so great having to do socks. Okay.
I mean, I'm sure they wear socks or some kind of footwear during the wintertime in New York, because otherwise you're losing toes, but...
Right. I would have to assume. We'll just do this. So, Sounds Like an Earful said, if you were in a situation you definitely couldn't escape, but you had a boombox, what tune would you blast really loud before the monsters got you?
I don't know. Something spiteful.
Something spiteful?
Yeah. If I'm going down...
Sugar, I'm going down swinging?
Yes. That song.
I feel like you would do something heavy metal.
Yeah, probably. Probably something loud and screamy and just angry.
Okay. So anyways, next week we are sticking with the Halloween movies because we are in the month of October and we are doing Rocky Horror Picture Show because neither one of us have seen it.
Correct.
And I feel like it's one of those movies
that is going to start an internet disaster.
Yes, but it's one of those movies that everyone should see. I feel like even if you don't like it, I know there's a lot of opinions out there on this movie. I don't know, there's supposedly going to be a remake with the girl from Orange is the New Black, or maybe it already happened. I don't know. I just read articles about it.
Not a good idea, but...
Anyway, so I don't know, but we'll find out all of that stuff next week. Excited to watch that. Is there anything else you want to say about this movie? Just the rating?
Just the rating.
So what's your rating?
I'm going to give it an 8, despite Joe.
I thought you were going to give it like a 10 despite Joe, to be completely honest. I thought he was going to be like, this is the best movie I've ever seen ever.
No, that's not crazy, but...
I was actually going to give it an 8 too. There were plot holes that like annoyed me a little bit, but I have not seen a movie that got me that tense in a long time.
It was very tense. It was very, very tense. They did a lot of the good jump scare, because some jump scares are kind of like thrown in there, but like the hand reaching out to grab his sister was great. There's a bunch of those. So yeah, it was very, very tense because you're rooting for this family, and the deck is stacked against them, and you just feel for them.
Right. So anyways, I would definitely be interested in seeing more movies formatted like this, like very tense, focused on that kind of things rather than focus on gore or violence or things like that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Anyway, I think that's it. So I just want to give my thank yous to Jake Adathis Music for our intro and outro music, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.